Hello, welcome back. Mike from Canavan Wealth. It is Tuesday, August 8th. Time for Mike Reads the Journal. S&P 500 down pretty substantially. Really, all the major indexes are today. For the 5-day down 2.3, really not that bad. We were kind of expecting a little drop, reconsolidation here. Still pretty, only about 3% off the high, so really not doing too bad. We're going to look at the markets. I think the real surprising number is actually this one, something we do not often talk about in this part, which is the 10-year treasury at 4.0, which if we look at, kind of long term, really reaching a high. Let's look at the 1 year. It's a little more interesting. This is the absolute peak it hit. But getting back to that, there's 4.2 back here at about 4.0, almost 4.1. This is really kind of an indication that maybe there is some thought that interest rates are going to stay higher for a little bit longer than everyone expected. That's typically, at this point, I don't think that's as much as what the Fed has been doing and plans on doing, and more a comment on the strength of the economy, right? If the economy continues to show strong, including the job market, then the Fed may not try and get interest rates down quite as fast, just to ensure that this kind of inflation does get beaten down. So big news on the Treasury there. All right, everybody knows I love talking about China. This is talking about their exports. Not great news, down 14.5% from last year. US and Europe down specifically 23% exports and 21% in Europe. Now, no shocker here, exports to Russia of 52%. Weakening economic news out of China is no surprise over the last year. They have really been struggling. A lot of this comes down to when COVID hit and globalization took such a hit. The supply chains figured out that, oh boy, although it is maybe able to help us keep costs down, it is certainly something that becomes a challenge when there are shipping issues. So, and then China's longer than normal shutdown, their zero COVID policy really kept the economy shut down. A lot of, once the other economies came back, they really were no longer, China was not an option to buy from, so they really started finding other places. The US has certainly been encouraging manufacturers to kind of untie themselves from China and find other sources. So this is going to be interesting to see whether this kind of sustained bad news coming out of China is going to turn into some type of long-term economic downturn, or whether this is just, kind of a blip on the radar before they get back moving again. All right. Really can't do the news without, especially economic news, talk about this. So Fitch downgraded U.S. credit rating. U.S. government has always had a AAA credit rating. It's occasionally dipped like this. Fitch just downgraded it to AA+. What do I think about this? I don't think you can go through several debt crises over the last 10 years and not have some type of hit to your credit rating. So this doesn't shock me in any way that they downgraded it. Going from AAA to AA+, I think, is a meaningless downgrade. However, to be perfectly honest, this feels to me like a publicity stunt for Fitch more than it really signals any type of grade. For example, the credit rating scale is often referenced as whatever is the most creditworthy is at the top. And it's hard to imagine that there's any more creditworthy source out there than the US government. That's not to say that they're perfect, but I would like to know if they're AA+, what is the standard for AA, right? So what is, or AAA, what is the top? If it's not the US government, I would like to know what it is. And I have always kind of felt that since 2008 and the credit rating companies didn't do their job during that time, in many people's opinion, that it's a tough. They're trying to get back some credibility. So I think this is in some ways kind of a publicity stunt for them. Do I think that the U.S. is having economic problems, fiscal problems? This is my next article. This is an article I have a love-hate relationship with. I actually have a video coming out this Thursday on the U.S. debt rating, or U.S. debt, the federal debt. I love the content of this article. I hate the title. America's Fiscal Time Bomb Takes Even Louder. A lot of people read the newspaper like all of us, where they read all of the headlines and they read 2 or 3 articles. When you read this, it just reaffirms many of the misconceptions that we all have about the federal government, the budget, the deficit, things along those lines. Now, if you actually read it, there's very good information around here, which is really talking about interest rates, how the budgeting office. I think this is misleading as well, which is about, this is what they projected US as a share of GDP was going to look like over the years, and how they got it wrong. Well, they were unable to predict, for example, this is 2007. They did not predict, obviously, the 2008 global financial crisis. 2011 was in the middle of it. And of course, this is post-COVID. So I'm going to leave my commentary on the debt for that video. It is an excellent video, very informative, and will most likely dispel a lot of things that you thought you knew about the debt. It does not say that there is no problem with the budget and the debt. However, the problem is different than what you think it is. So check out that video this Thursday. Otherwise, I hope this has been informative, and I will talk to you soon. Thank you.